Welcome to Sense and Sika, the podcast, season 2, episode 7. Today's episode, we are exploring all of the different financial tools that you might not be accessing at your job. You have a lot of employee-sponsored benefits that you could be leaving on the table, so I'm going to jump into some of them that you should absolutely take advantage of to set yourself up for an awesome financial future. So let's get into the hot topic, which is all about DEI cuts and fundings that we have seen with our new administration. So in the corporate environment and space, you need to understand that a lot of companies align themselves with political power. Why? Because they are the ones who are controlling the finances, the tax cuts, the benefits for these corporations, especially in the United States. So with the recent Trump administration declaring that they are cutting DEI and that the president is not a fan of DEI efforts, this also trickles down to corporate businesses as well. With that being said, we're seeing a lot of cuts in the DEI spaces across things called ERGs, employee resource groups, and a lot of ERGs in corporate spaces are also training their employees how to take advantage of their financial accounts. So things like 401ks, life insurance, 403bs if you're in the healthcare space. ERGs are a subset of DEI that often trains and gives people a lot of information and also follows up with their employees to make sure that they are truly taking the steps necessary to set up their accounts and that everything is looking good. This is very critical, especially for those of us who are first-generation immigrants or new to the corporate environment who are just starting out, because it's really helpful and beneficial for someone to show you the ropes of these financials when you are new to the system. So if DEI is cutting funding, which means that we're losing a lot of funding for ERG groups, this leaves a huge gap of knowledge, especially for people who are early on in their careers. As you advance in your career, it might become common knowledge of the accounts that you want to utilize and use, but this is really detrimental for those who are currently stepping into this environment and space, and they don't even know what they don't have with the lack of support and resources behind ERGs in this current political climate. So with that, I really want to take the time to dive into some of the options you have in this episode so that you can also empower yourself and really take the time to ask your HR, potentially ask other colleagues how they are setting up their accounts. They don't need to tell you all their money business, but just so that you know what is available to you and the things that you should inquire about while you are at work. So let's get into it. The first account that I really want you to look into is a 401k. Most corporate entities offer a 401k. Some go the extra mile and offer a 401k match, which incentivizes people to truly invest in their 401k retirement plan savings because the company is giving you an additional percentage based off of what you put in. So for example, if I have a 401k with a company match, that means if I put in 5% of my gross income, the company is also going to match that to 5% or a number of their choosing. So essentially, you are investing 10% of your gross income, of your pre-tax income, in a retirement savings account that is then growing over time. So the 401k was pretty much designed to replace pensions and retirement funds from corporations and puts the ownership of retirement onto you, the employee. So it kind of absolves the company of taking care of you later on in life if you so choose to spend 20, 30 years at the company. And now you have to take control of your financial retirement, your financial future, by taking advantage of these types of retirement accounts. So the problem is a lot of people see 401ks or 403bs if you're in the healthcare industry as taking away from their income, right? And I get it. Everybody has bills. There's a lot of money that goes out and you need all of your money to live your life, essentially. But that keeps you in a cycle of not preparing or not thinking about your future. And time is a thief, if nothing else. I'm sure we all understand that. So it's really essential to set the discipline and the habit of investing in your 401k early so that you are also learning how to budget and manage around your day-to-day finances, even if it's 1% of your income, 2%. Just start with something, and you can always increase it over time at your choosing. But it's important to set that foundation and habit early so that you know that no matter what happens, you have something going towards your retirement. You have money that's growing in the market for you, because the biggest asset you have is time. So the longer you have money invested, the better off you will be. So please, 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 please inquire about your 401k. Ask questions about it. Understand if you are getting a company match on your retirement savings. And even if you're not, just invest in it. Choose a fund. I will get into another episode where I give you more details about how to choose the retirement funds, but just start with something and really set yourself up for the future, because things are changing quickly, and the best way to grow your money is to start early and to take advantage of some of these accounts. The next account that you should inquire about is an FSA or an HSA. So those two accounts are dependent on your health insurance. So inquire about that when it comes to open enrollment, and depending on the health plan that you choose, you can either opt for an FSA or an HSA. If you decide to go the HSA route, HSA stands for Health Savings Account, and that is a tax-free account that it seems like nobody explains, right? So in the tax-free account of an HSA, you're able to input pre-tax money into your health savings account to pay for things like dental, medical issues, childcare as well, with pre-tax income. It is such a great account to have, but there are nuances to it because it comes with insurance plans that have a higher deductible. And again, I will explain all of this in a further episode, but inquire about the HSA. The amazing part of an HSA is you are able to invest that money as well. So you are saving on your taxes, and you're also growing that income because it's an account that allows you to save up and pre-plan for future expenses. So maybe in 10 or 15 years, you might have a child, or you might have to go and get braces for yourself or for your family. And you're able to get ahead of these expenses by saving into an HSA pre-tax, investing that income so that you have even more money to pull out in future, and it doesn't become a huge financial burden to you when it's time for you to pull out that money. FSAs are flexible savings account. They work in a similar fashion, except for they expire every year. So it's kind of like a use it or lose it type of savings account. So if you're somebody who has recurring medical expenses such as glasses, or you get a lot of contact lenses, or you know that you are always getting dental work done, or you might visit a chiropractor, an FSA is an account that might be beneficial to you, especially if you are expecting to spend a certain amount within the year, and it's something that by all means you know you're going to spend that money. So look into an FSA, look into an HSA, figure out which one works best for you alongside your insurance plan, and take advantage of them because they are really beneficial and great to use. I personally am a huge fan of the HSA because I love the investing aspect that you're able to take advantage of, and the double savings of having your pre-tax income going into the account as well. It's awesome. You save on taxes and you're able to invest. That being said, it's really important that you get a good understanding of your pay stub. This is something that a lot of people don't look into. You just assume that HR has your pay stub right. You're assuming that they're making the deductions that you allocated when you first started the job. And I have even had a personal experience where they did not make the right elections. So I'm looking at my pay stub and it's not looking right. The taxes are moving funny. My checks are looking different every pay stub. So I had to inquire with HR what is going on. So please get ahead of that and make sure you understand your pay stub. You have to know the difference between your gross income, and your net income, because your pay stub is going to list out your entire income. And it's painful to look at, I know. It may look like you're starting out with, let's say, $1,000, but by the time the money actually hits your account, you have like $200. That's how it can feel. But it's really important that you get a good understanding of your tax bracket, the income taxes that you're using, your personal state taxes depending on where you live, and also all of the deductions that are coming out of your check. So do you have an HSA? Are you putting into that every pay stub? Do you have health insurance? Is that coming out of your pay stub? What about Social Security? There's all types of taxes that could come out of your pay stub, but you want to make sure that it's right, because at the end of the day, we are all going to answer to Uncle Sam when it comes to tax time. And you want to make sure that you are not getting too much money taken out of your accounts for taxes. And you also want to ensure that you're not getting too little taken out of your account, because you can end up owing a lot of taxes in the next tax year. So get a good handle of your pay stub. If anything looks funky or it doesn't align with your state taxes or the insurance plans that you have signed up for, address it immediately with HR. And think about it. HR probably has hundreds, if not thousands of employees that they are managing. Things have become so automated, they're probably not looking at your personal pay stub and going through and making sure everything is good. You are the one that has to catch it. You have to make sure that your pay is also correct. And if you catch any discrepancies, just address them as soon as possible. They are very quick fixes to make sure that you're being paid adequately, you're paying the right amount of taxes, and the right things are coming out of your check. Lastly, this is a bit spicy, I would say. It's just around the topic of bonuses, equity, and timing, right? As I mentioned in an earlier point, time is your biggest asset, not money. So as you advance in your career, or maybe upfront, depending on the company that you're working with, you can start playing around with your bonuses and equity that you might have in a company. So this has been more common in smaller companies that may not be able to pay you a lot of salary upfront, but they may offer you equity in the company depending on their financial capabilities, right? So if they're hoping to become a publicly traded company in the near future, let's say 3 to 5 years, and you feel like you can really stick around with this company, you could potentially opt to make less salary, but they're giving you 5% shares in the company or 1% shares, something of value that incentivizes you to stick around for a certain amount of time. And then even if you decide to leave, you are still a part owner of that company whenever they decide to go public. And that is a huge financial unlock that is often not spoken of or discussed. And that's how a lot of people also make huge financial gains. They get into a company early, they forego getting a big salary, but they negotiate for the equity as a part owner of the company so that when the company gets investments or they go public, they are cashing out and living a good life in a few years' time. So think about timing the game if you are presented with that option. It's not a bad thing, you know. A lot of people have done it, and it's a really good opportunity to take advantage of if you are presented with that. The last thing I really want you to consider is the topic of equity and bonuses. Starting with equity, I think it's something that isn't often discussed and it's kind of hush-hush, but those who have really advanced financially in their careers truly take advantage of this. As I mentioned, time is your biggest asset. So some people enter a new company, especially a smaller company that might just be starting out, and they understand that the company may not have the financial standing to pay them a huge salary, so they might take a smaller salary. However, they'll negotiate for equity in the company, so part ownership of shares within the company, in the hopes that in 3 to 5 years, maybe 10 years, this company goes public or gains a lot of investment that marks up their valuation and leaves them with a good lump sum of investment and cash and ownership in this company. So equity, if you are presented with that option, definitely explore, investigate what that looks like. It's a really, really awesome financial tool that people do take advantage of if they are presented with that opportunity. So consider it. And also consider things like bonuses. So it may be really exciting to discuss bonuses with your company, like, oh, I'm getting a $50,000 bonus. All of this money is expected to hit your account. Let me tell you something. There are these things called taxes that will take a big chunk out of your bonus. So you also need to negotiate around your bonuses. Bonuses are totally separate from your actual salary, and also considering the fact that a big chunk of that will go to the government through taxes. What is the bonus structure that makes sense for you? You can negotiate these things. Do you want a lump sum payment of a bonus? Are you okay with a prorated bonus? So you're getting it over time. However, those tend to come with some type of clawbacks, especially with bigger corporations. So if they're giving you a big bonus, they're giving it to you over time because they want you to stay for a long time in their business as well. And they don't want you to just take this huge lump sum and run away. So make some of these considerations, use bonuses and equity to your personal advantage, and decide what works best for you. So I hope these 4 points really help you to stop and assess your financials, especially at work. Please, 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 please. You know, my number one thing is to always invest in yourself. Educate yourself about the options that are available to you. Think about how you want to address things like your bonuses and potential equity in the future. And just have conversations about this, because the more prepared you are, the more excited and disciplined you'll be when it comes to actually engaging in some of these things to set yourself up for financial success. Let's get into our listener letter. This reads, I am 27. I'm a first-generation Nigerian American who's working in healthcare. My hospital offers a 403B with a match. I enrolled in it, but I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know what I'm invested in, and I'm not sure if I'm contributing the right amount. My parents just saved cash for us back home, so I'm not sure about all of these financial tools in the US. And I also feel embarrassed asking HR. Can you please help? That's a great question, and I think it speaks to the nuance of not really understanding the financial system, but also knowing that you have to take advantage of it while you have the opportunity. So with your 403B with a match, that is great. Your hospital is doing better than some, and it's great that you've also enrolled in it. But if you don't know how it works, inquire with the company who is actually hosting your 403B to walk you through it. This could be as simple as a phone call. You can call them directly, and they have financial advisors for the most part who are willing and happily ready to walk you through the financials of a 403B and match. A lot of companies are also using these AI tools to teach their customers how to pick investments. So that could be another good tool that you might want to use. But it all starts with contacting the company who is hosting your 403B, whether it is a financial, like a mutual fund, or a big company like Fidelity, Charles Schwab. Figure out who you're talking to first and then take it from there, because most banks and investment firms that I have seen have educational tools to help you choose the investments that work well for you. They will also advise you on your contribution amounts based off of your desired retirement age. They can pick out different funds for you to invest in as well. So please take advantage of that. Reach out to the firm that is hosting your 403B. On top of that, you can also ask other people in healthcare, right? 403Bs are very common in hospital settings, in nursing settings especially. Talk to other nurses. What are they investing in? Which companies do they use? What is the best way to educate yourself on these things? And also look into YouTube. There are so much amazing content out there from people in similar fields as you, learning about their finances and figuring out how to make the best investments and financial contributions for their future as well. You mentioned something that I really want to touch on, which is that your parents used to just save cash back at home. And I don't want you to get so caught up in that, thinking that that is your financial basis and you have to do exactly what your parents do. No, you can also get creative. You have so much more education available to you that you're able to invest in yourself, learn, and also make the best decisions for you and your financial future. So take advantage, lean on other people who are in the similar field as you. Talk to the financial host of your 403b account and also inquire with HR, because oftentimes HR at the hospital or whichever company you're at, they will have the direct contacts that you can get in touch with that can help you pick the right funds, invest in the right places, and calibrate your accounts to work in your favor. So I hope that helps. You are not flying blind. There's a lot of resources at your disposal. You just have to investigate them. To wrap up this episode, I just want to remind you all that you are not behind. You have your financial future in your hands. And even if you feel like you started off on the wrong foot, you have time to make things up and invest in yourself, invest in your financial education. But it begins with curiosity. Get curious about what is available to you. Start asking your HR teams, especially in light of not having those employee resource groups to really rely on. And also reach out to your financial institutions that are hosting your insurance companies, that are hosting your 401ks and your 403bs, because they are also invested in you because your money is with them. They also want you to perform well so that they get a cut of their money as well. See you on the next episode and talk to you all very soon.